hiding somewhere in the meteorite sea. Xianxia concealed his body and aura. He believed that even if the opponent had a strong Void King realm, he would not be able to find his trace even if they were hundreds of miles away from each other. He checked the situation of the stone puppet again. It was because he had noticed some changes in the stone puppet before that he thought about going to this meteorite sea to settle down, but was discovered and attacked by that Li Minghai. While waiting, he naturally turned his attention to the stone puppet. Under this look, Xianxia was suddenly overjoyed. The layer of stone cocoon-like thing that wrapped the stone puppet actually cracked through the gaps. Just like the situation when the stone puppet was born, the stone puppet is obviously about to break out of its shell again. The space ring is not a suitable place, nor is the meteorite sea. Xianxia doesn't know whether the evolution of the stone puppet will cause any obvious signs. If he stays here, it will only be discovered by Li Minghai and others. As a last resort, Xianxia could only sacrifice the mysterious boundary bead and dive into the mysterious small boundary with the stone puppet. Since bringing the elites of the three races of human, monster and demons from Tongshuan continent to the High Heaven sect, the mysterious small boundary has once again been vacant. Now that Xianxia has arrived, the interior is still silent. Stone cocoon was placed in front of Xianxia, and he stared quietly. After a while, the stone cocoon made a clicking sound, and the existing cracks became larger and larger, more and more dense. Finally, when the stone cocoon was full of cracks, the stone puppet burst out of it. The small body dexterously fell in front of Xianxia, his eyes that had only a faint charm. At this moment, it became extremely bright, seeming to contain the light of wisdom. After finding out that Xianxia was watching him, the stone puppet grinned with a smile, and then stood there, scratching his head with his knee-length arms. Xianxia touched his chin, released his spiritual mind and scanned the stone puppet. Nothing special. After a while, he murmured. A suspicious look appeared on his face. This time the evolution of the stone puppet, he thought it would change the stone puppet drastically. But now it seems that his expectations are a little too high. The stone puppet did seem to have changed a bit from before. After all, on that dead star, it swallowed a lot of rare minerals. After condensing the essence of these minerals, the stone puppet will definitely have some increase in strength or power. This is equivalent to a martial artist. The strength will definitely increase after eating the spirit pill used in cultivation. But to say a big change, there is none. On the contrary, the eyes of the stone puppet have become brighter, and it have obviously increased its spiritual intelligence, but it does not reach a heaven-defined change. Become bigger, let me see. Xianxia ordered the stone puppet. When the stone puppet was ordered, he instantly transformed into a stone giant, reaching 10 feet tall. Awe-inspiring, oppressive and fierce. Where is the lava armor? Xianxia said again. On the stone puppet's body surface, the scorching sun's true fire immediately appeared, causing its entire body to become red, the layer of lava armor covering it. Like flowing magma, terrifying. Sure enough, there is no significant change. Xianxia frowned and thought hard. Always thinking about the reasons. Logically speaking, the stone puppet swallowed the remaining traces of star source on the dead star, which is definitely beneficial. After all, after being swallowed, its reaction was extremely strong, and it turned into a stone cocoon. But the final result was a little surprising. He didn't understand it for the time being, and Xianxia didn't continue to explore. Anyway, there was a long way to go. There was always time to study. After the stone puppet regained its shape, he left the mysterious small boundary with it. Just after returning to the meteorite where he had hidden before, Xianxia realized that something was wrong. Hundreds of miles away, Li Minghai's group of people performed the secret technique of hiding aura, almost disappearing in Xianxia's perception. And at a far distance, a battleship is slowly approaching here. The battleship where the Union young master of Sword Union is located. He came here so soon, no wonder Li Minghai did not hesitate to kill the passerby when he discovered him. Obviously, the time before their plan was very short at the time. He didn't want any accidents, so he didn't hesitate to do it himself. In the end, not only did he fail to succeed, but he provokes a hidden enemy for himself. If Li Minghai knew this, he didn't know how he would feel. Yang Kai looked at the location of the battleship and the direction in which it was traveling, and estimated that it would take no more than an hour before the two sides would collide. At the moment, he hid his aura even more, waiting for the show to come on stage. Time went by little, and the atmosphere in the huge meteorite sea seemed to become a little dignified. With the approach of the battleship over there, Yang Kai discovered that there was more than one battleship of the Union Young Master of the Sword Union. Among them was a slightly larger battleship, which was about 30 feet long. On the left and right sides, there is also a smaller battleship with a length of 20 feet. This is obviously a team of 3 battleship. Too far apart, Yang Kai didn't know what grade the 3 battleships were, but it would definitely not be lower than the Void grade. Sword Union is not small. The battleship of the Void grade can be used as the treasure of the city on the Shadowed Star, but here, there are 3 battleships appearing together. However, the appearance of these 3 battleships is not the same as those refined by Yang Yan. Strictly speaking, they are more like big ships, especially the one in the middle. It is like a huge ship sailing in the void. The corners of the ships are as sharp as a knife, and the shape of the entire battleship is so smooth, from a distance, it is like a sharp sword out of its sheath, with its sharp edges. On the decks of the 3 battleships, there are faint figures of cultivators moving. The warship that sailed was unaware of the danger lurking in the meteorite sea, and still drove straight toward this side. When the distance between each other was only about 50 miles, Li Minghai, who was hidden in the meteorite sea, acted decisively. Even if separated by hundreds of miles, Yang Kai could clearly feel a clear energy wave coming from there. Immediately, this energy wave became stronger and stronger, and at certain locations in the meteorite sea, it was even more intense, more violent bright light emerged. Immediately afterwards, dozens of pure white light beams shot out from the meteorite sea like an arrow from the string, covering the 3 battleships in the distance, as fast as thunder. With such an obvious abnormality and such a strong energy fluctuation, the 3 battleships have obviously already sensed the coming crisis. The cultivators on the deck rushed to each other in an emergency, each offering a defensive artifact blocking in front of the battleship, in order to make the most of it. The 3 battleships also responded defensively at an extremely fast speed. The brilliance light flashed, and the visible energy light barrier was lit on the 3 battleships. Not only that, but they also made evasive actions in an attempt to escape the attacked area. But Li Minghai and the others have been lurking here for a long time. They are well prepared, and the timing of the sneak attack is just right, so such an attack cannot be avoided at all. Dozens of white pillars of light submerged the 3 battleships in an instant. From a distance, it looked like a huge wave submerged 3 reefs. A brighter light erupted from a certain place, and the battleship on the far left was unable to withstand such an attack. First, the defensive shield was disintegrated and breached. Then, the huge hull was directly penetrated by several beams of light. With this heavy damage, this battleship burst open. No one escaped from such destruction. The cultivators on this battleship, together with the battleship itself, actually exhausted the entire army in the first round of surprise attacks by Li Minghai and others. The battleship on the right had better luck. Although the defensive shield was disintegrated in a very short time, it did not withstand too many attacks. Only 2 white pillars of light pierced the ship. Although the battleship was completely scrapped, it did not burst open, and it was not known how many people died. The still alive cultivator fled out of the battleship in a hurry. Everyone was panicked and inexplicably looking for the enemy. After seeing what happened to the battleship on the left, there was a lingering fear in the heart, but also an unforgettable feeling emerged like hatred. Among the 3 battleship, only the middle position is the one with the largest battleship in the best condition. Although it withstood more attacks than the other 2 ships, the grade of this warship was obviously extremely high. The defensive shield was not completely breached, but it became extremely dim. Before everyone came back to their senses, Li Minghai and others rushed to the front. At the moment the attack was launched, Li Minghai and others had already begun to take action. They seemed to have anticipated this situation a long time ago, so as soon as they came to the front of the battleship, they sacrificed their own attack artifacts and slammed at the battleship. The already dim defensive shield was finally completely broken. Li Minghai. It turned out to be you. A loud roar came from the battleship. By listening to this voice, you can infer that the owner of the voice is not very old, but he looked a little angry because of the monstrous fury. You actually dare to attack this young master. Do you know what the consequences are? The consequences of attacking the young leader are naturally clear to the old man. Among the crowd, the recognized Li Minghai looked indifferent and did not show any panic. The old man is also one of the elders of the Sword Union. How can the old man not understand the rules of the Union? It's just that if you want to use the rules of the Union to suppress the old man, you should wait for the young leader to escape the disaster. Okay, very good. It looks like you are ready to endure this young master's monstrous anger. While the voice of Jiu Jianqin heard from the battleship, a young man appeared on the battleship deck. He was handsome like a jade, and his eyes contained an extremely sharp charm, just like in those two eyes. Two sharp swords that could hurt the soul were hidden. Union young master of the Sword Union, Jiu Jianqin. He stood upright on the deck, even facing a Void King realm like Li Minghai. His face remained unchanged, his expression cold, his waist straight like a sharp sword. Next to Jiu Jianqin, there are two women on the left and the other on the right. One is tall, the breast is rich and plump, and her eyes are flowing with some indescribable style, while the other is petite with picturesque brows. A long blue hair could almost cover the hips. The temperaments of the two women were completely different. The only thing in common was that they were the same as Jiu Jianqin. There was no fear on their faces, but they were a little eager to fight. To be continued.